A pleasant good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsa. I am Esther Sako. Coming up, President Biyo welcomes Sierra Leonean Arch pilgrims back home. A woman found dead at Kotown Road after missing for 5 days. And government trains border operatives to identify suspected trafficking cases. These stories and more, including entertainment and sport, are all lined up in this evening's edition of news. Stay with us. Welcome back. We begin news tonight with the presidency. The president was accompanied by the Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, has toured some of Sierra Leone's most important historic and modern tourism sites. The visit highlights the government's commitment to growing tourism as a key driver of economic diversification. It was also makes President Biyo the first sitting president of Sierra Leone to officially visit Bones Island. The inspection and heritage tour forms part of efforts to showcase the country's tourism infrastructure, cultural heritage, environmental conservation initiatives, and destination development potential. Our State House correspondent Margaret Senge has more on that story.
President Julius Maada Bio began his tourism tour at the historic Bones Island. There, tour guide Francis Momo provided a detailed account of the island's role in the transatlantic slave trade. He described Bones Island as a symbol of resilience, cultural memory, and urged Sierra Leoneans to learn their history to better understand their identity and heritage.
This space has always been called the White House of humanity because humans were cramped here, they were processed here, and then chained and then brought into the building. So here used to be the trading area. So like today, say people in the Goluma, they go to spaces through the sloop trade. They come in from the river down there using African villages, and they come down to this trading area. Here people are processed, they were checked, they were branded, because Saint Sierra Leone really for the slave plantation owners in the US and the Caribbean knew that Sierra Leoneans coming from this region were having the expertise in rice growing, even in sugar plantations. So for instance in Barbados, they were always looking forward to them. So even trademarking our people was significant to their profit making.
Standing on the grounds of Bones Island, President Biyo reflected on the painful history of the sites. He noted that many Sierra Leonean ancestors passed through Bones Island after being captured and sold into slavery, and many, he said, never returned home.
I came here because it is important that you know your history. It is important that you try to live that history. I just made a read there. That was the way our ancestors were brought on this island to be sold. Many never walked back. That was the jetty, the point of no return. I have the opportunity to come and to go back that way. I put a read there in memory of the many Africans around the world whose ancestors, our ancestors who went through that, but never came back. And I hope that Sierra Leoneans will learn to live together, knowing that we have a rich heritage and we need to live that to be able to navigate an extremely difficult world that is still ahead of us.
President Biyo and his delegation then traveled to the Lester Peak Viewing Point, a modern tourism facility developed under the Sierra Leone's Economic Diversification Project. The site offers breathtaking views of Freetown, Lunge, and the surrounding landscape. The tour concluded at Takogama's Tourism Innovation and Education Center, where the president toured the new library, restaurants, and canopy walk. The Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Madam Nabila Tuni, said the government's investment in tourism is already yielding results. She revealed that Sierra Leone recorded 25,000 more visitors last year than the previous years and generated approximately 18,000 new jobs across the tourism, fashion, and creative sectors. With Bure Beach set to open as the third project under the diversification program, she said the ministry expects those numbers to grow even further.
Definitely, we've seen a progressive increase in terms of arrivals over the past years. Last year it was massive, and this year we know it's going to surpass last year's percentage, because even with the Budapest and the several meetings and conferences we've had so far, it will certainly increase our numbers. And we've realized that people have this appetite for Sierra Leone. Everywhere you go in Sierra Leone, it's all about beauty. And somebody described Sierra Leone and Freetown as having soul. There's something about this country. When you come here, you just feel like you don't want to go anywhere. And there's so much natural beauty, and that's what we're taking advantage of. So ecotourism, culture and creativity, anything that we can do to advance President's agenda, his tourism agenda, culture agenda, we'll be more than happy to do it. And we're happy that he was with us today to see the fruits of his work.
Madam Tunis recalled that in 2018, President Bio identified tourism as a key pillar of Sierra Leone's economic diversification agenda, with a clear vision to transform the sector for the benefit of citizens. President Bio reaffirmed that tourism remains central to his economic development strategy and called on Sierra Leoneans to take pride in their culture, heritage, and natural attractions. The tour brought together 3 landmark destinations in one journey, showcasing Sierra Leone's rich history, growing tourism infrastructure, and future potential. Reporting for SLBC News, I am Margaret Senge.
As rains intensify across Freetown, blocked drains filled with garbage are not only causing floods but are creating dangerous conditions for the spread of malaria, cholera, and other diseases. We investigate the growing public health threats facing vulnerable communities like Kobe. Zainab Mahdi filed on this report and was read in the studio by Joyan Dumbuya.
As the rainy season worsens across Freetown, growing concerns are emerging over the impact of blocked drains and poor waste management on public health. In several communities, including Susan's Bay, drainage channels are heavily clogged with garbage. Susan, a community member, told SLBC the flooding has affected them badly.
When the water enters the community, people suffer and many businesses are disrupted. The drainage system is blocked, so customers cannot come to the market and will lose home. Many people, especially children, become sick with cold and other illnesses because of the flooding. We are asking the government and other stakeholders to help improve the drainage and support families in this community so that we can live and work in safer conditions.
Omo Amara, who lives at Susan's Bay, explained that the drainage has overflowed since the starting of the rain.
That was when I started calling on the authorities to come and see the situation for themselves. We are appealing to the government to help us address this large gutter. Whenever it rains, dirt and debris wash down from the mountains and fill the drainage channel. The water then overflows, causing flooding and making life very difficult for residents.
It is the people living here who suffer the most. We struggle to create makeshift crossings so that people can move around. Sometimes we contribute money to put temporary structures in place, but when we cannot afford it, we are left with no solution. We are begging the government to come to our aid, especially for women and families living in this community. We need a proper drainage system that will allow water to flow freely and prevent flooding. We are pleading with the authorities not to forget us We are human beings like everyone else, and we deserve safe living conditions. We ask the government to have pity on us and help solve this problem before the situation gets worse. Salimatu Kamara lives in Madina community.
The water they carry that speed for enter now we rooms them.
When the dirty water flows through the gutter during the first rains, it affects our home badly. If the rain falls at night, the water comes with short force that it enters our houses. At that moment, we cannot save our belongings. We only try to save the lives of our children.
During the last heavy rains, my house was seriously affected. Water entered the rooms and everything was flooded. We are appealing for help. We want the government to assist us by building a proper drainage before the rainy season becomes more intense. We know the rainy season begins around April, and every year we live in fear. When the high water level raises and mixed with the rainwater, the flooding becomes even worse. The water can quickly overflow and take over our homes. Sometimes you cannot rescue your property. The flooding can sweep everything away and even put the life of our children at risk. This is why people here are afraid to keep belongings in their homes. Whenever the rain starts, residents rush to move their important possessions to safer places.
And now, in the central part of Freetown, a woman who was in her late 50s named Anna Snamin Williams was found dead in a room located at Setra Crew Street, Cotown Road. She was not seen for nearly 5 days. Her body was discovered only after neighbors noticed a bad odor emanating from her apartment. Our intern Alimami Conte filed on this report and was read in the studio by Mohamed Lami. Mohamed Simbikoma.
It was an emotional moment here at Setra Crew Street, Cotown Road, Freetown, as morticians carried the remains of Hannah Snamin Williams. According to a resident in the area, Edward, the deceased sister met him and claimed that she had not seen her sister for about 5 days. He said the sister Bali told him she was getting some bad smell from the late woman's room, which she suspected to be a dead rat. Based on that information, he and Bali immediately left for the house to ascertain what had happened.
When we come to the house, that's a minute go inside one table. Let us check through the window.
When we arrived, the window had been tied shut with pieces of cloth. I started shaking it until it eventually opened. As soon as it did, flies began swarming out. We used a torch, opened the door, and discovered the body. The body was swollen and the face was also badly swollen. I immediately said this was a police matter.
A family friend, Plo, said Hannah had faced long-standing domestic conflict within the shared household.
Because
we find it difficult to understand how someone could go unseen for several days in a shared household, especially when there were concerns about a strong odor. We are calling for a full investigation and for justice for Hannah Snamin Williams.
The latest happening in the area ignited intense anger in the community as youths stormed the house, throwing stones and demanding immediate accountability and justice for the deceased. In response, police have detained the family members who were living in the house. They are currently being held at the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, to assist with the ongoing homicide. A postmortem is expected to be conducted to establish the exact cause of death.
Following the arrest of 68 individuals at Belu checkpoint in Kainam district over a week ago, the Executive Director, Anti-Trafficking and Person Task Force Security has said government has trained the border operatives on how to identify warning signs associated with suspected trafficking cases. Joyan Dumbia takes up the story following the incident earlier this month.
Human trafficking remains a challenge in Sierra Leone amid several porous borders across the country. Earlier this month, about 68 individuals, including children, were intercepted by security forces on suspected human trafficking at Belu checkpoint in Kailahun district. According to the International Organization for Migration, the Center on Human Trafficking Research Outreach, among others, have reported a significant number of trafficking in person cases at border areas in Sierra Leone over the past decade.
Unsuspected people, giving them promises so that they can move them and trap them in slavery-like situations, either within the country or outside of the country. In this situation, these 68 persons, there were 45 children, 19 women, and 4 men.
Amidst these latest developments, what has the government done to prevent similar happenings in the future?
We are training and we continue to train border operatives on how to detect, identify victims of human trafficking and refer them for protection services. And this is what they have done at the Bailu checkpoints. They did similar thing very recently in Ouenadougou district.
To ensure its sustainability, the executive director said his office has been working with the Ministry of Social Welfare to establish a case response and management team in Kenema. At this point, the victims who were intercepted by the security forces are now provided with psychosocial support, food and other essential items, while the police investigations continue.
When they were done, they moved the suspects and the victims to TOCO, that's the Transnational Organized Crime Unit here in Freetown. So they are right now with TOCO for further investigation. But let me quickly also add that in TOCO, we are teaming up with World Hope International to provide further psychosocial support.
Authorities say continued vigilance at border crossing points is needed more than ever before. For SLBC, Julian Dumbuya.
A matter involving a 21-year-old Abubakar Kali, a student, has been committed to the High Court by Magistrate Mustafa Brahmaja of Panambago Court No. 1 to answer to a charge of murder. Our court's correspondent, Mohammed Kouma, tells us more.
According to the particulars of offense, the defendant on Monday, 6th April 2026 at Moiba, Kisi in the western area of Freetown, allegedly murdered one Mohamed Bangura. No plea was taken as the matter is before the court by way of committal proceedings. Prosecution witness number 1, DPC 18670 Mohamed Amin Bangura, attached to the Regional Police Division at Ross Road Police Station, told the court that he recognized both the defendant and the deceased. He recalled that on 8th April 2026, while on duty at Ross Road Police Station, he received a case and inquiry file transferred from the Moiba Police Post. He said the file contained a police medical request form and a Ministry of Health referral form. He further said that on the 9th April 2026, in the presence of Sergeant 8602 A.K. Kaifala, he obtained a voluntary caution statement from the defendant in Creole, which he recorded in English. At the conclusion of the statement, it was read over and explained to the defendant, who admitted it to be true by affixing his right thumbprint. The statement was produced and tendered in court as part of the prosecution's evidence. The witness said that on the 8th April 2026, he wrote a request for a postmortem examination on the remains of the deceased. The request was also produced and tendered in court. He added that on the same date, together with scenes of crime officer Inspector M.S. Kamara. He witnessed the post-mortem examination conducted by Dr. Simeon Owis-Koroma. Following the examination, the doctor issued a cause of death certificate, which was equally produced and tendered in court as evidence. DPC Bangura further testified that on the 27th April 2026, he compiled and forwarded a report on the alleged offense of murder to the Office of the Director of Prosecutions for legal advice. On 5th May 2026, he received advice from the DPP directing that the defendants be charged with murder. Both documents were produced and tendered in court. He said that on the 11th May 2026, together with Sergeant Eke Kaifala, he formally charged the defendants with murder using the same procedure adopted in obtaining the voluntary caution statement. The charge statement was witnessed, signed, and subsequently produced and tendered in court as part of the prosecution's evidence. The witness was cross-examined by defense counsel Muke Amara. At the close of the prosecution's case, Tommy Zaiza informed the court that the prosecution had led sufficient evidence. Having carefully considered the evidence adduced before him, Magistrate Mustafa Bremaja ruled that the prosecution had established a prima facie case against the defendant and consequently committed Abu Bakar Kale to the High Court for trial on the charge of murder. For SLBC, Mohamed Koroma reporting.
The ECOWAS Commission, together with WANEP, has engaged a cross-section of civil society organizations in Freetown to popularize the ECOWAS Vision 2050 agenda. The vision is the long-term development plan of the community, serving as the collective aspiration of the people of West Africa. Ibrahim Samora tells us more.
The session, with CSOs drawn from different organizations, was designed to present the ECOWAS Vision 2050 agenda for the community and working closely with civil society organizations to help popularize the document in the communities they are operating. The vision articulates the key priority areas of focus for tackling the major development challenges facing the ECOWAS community under the slogan, ECOWAS of the peoples, peace and prosperity for all. ECOWAS resident representative Ambassador John Azuma said the ECOWAS Vision 2050 is not merely a strategic document but a proud ambition for the people of the ECOWAS community, which places citizens of the sub-region at the center with special attention on women's empowerment, youth and employment, and vulnerable groups.
The vision encapsulates 5 key pillars. 1. Peace, security, and stability. 2. Governance and the rule of law. 3. Economic integration and connectivity. 4. Social inclusion. 5. Transformation and innovation.
Presenting the ECOWAS Vision 2050, Planning and Coordinator Officer, ECOWAS Commission Patrick Lamboy, said gender equality, youth employment, digitalization, climate resilience, and capacity building are the cross-cutting issues captured in the document.
The bread and water pillar, transformation and sustainable development, that is where we do things around agriculture, etc., etc. And then pillar 5, social inclusion, youth, gender, disabled, etc., etc.
Head of ECOWAS National Office, MODEP, Komba Momo, catalogued a host of ECOWAS Commission achievements and intervention in Sierra Leone, citing the ECOWAS intervention during the country's civil war, funds to the human capital development projects, supports to agriculture, support the construction of the ECOWAS logistics depot in Lungi, the Kono University, and award scholarships to girls, among others. The ECOWAS Vision 2050 is a shared, inclusive roadmap for a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated West Africa focused on people's well-being. Ibrahim Samura, Freetown.
President Julius Maada Bio has welcomed Sierra Leonean Hajj pilgrims back home and joined them for their first Friday prayers since returning from the Holy Land. The special prayer service was held at State House as State House correspondent Magatenga put his reports together.
Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Hajj, Sheikh Murtada Sise, described this year's pilgrimage as one of the most successful in Sierra Leone's history. He said no deaths or major incidents were recorded during the pilgrimage. According to him, about 2,626 Sierra Leoneans, including members of the diaspora, performed Hajj this year. Of that number, 826 pilgrims traveled directly from Sierra Leone. Sheikh Sise thanked the government institutions and partners whose support made the journey possible.
Many people don't help me. If I not tell you this, then it will appear like we don't do the work. But in fact, I think people never mention that they don't actually help me to let the Hajj succeed. And I want to start immensely from your office, the State House, and the Vice President office and the team. The Vice President office don't give me full time this year, more than last year. So that helped me for move fast. Well, I'm going to tell you, thank you, sir. God bless you. Also, the fact that we get the full-fledged Saudi embassy now, it helped the Hajj process. And I'm glad that the ambassador don't come. Barakallah Afrika, Jazakallah Khayr.
Welcoming the pilgrims, President Julius Maada Bio thanked them for praying for Sierra Leone, the Vice President and the government. The President said reforms introduced by his administration have ended the challenges that once plagued Hajj operations. He noted that Sierra Leonean pilgrims now travel with dignity, respect and better condition. President Bio also commended Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallo, the Ministry of Social Welfare and the Deputy Minister for their commitment to ensuring a successful pilgrimage. He reaffirmed the government's determination to improve the lives of citizens, describing peace as one of the foundations for national development.
Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Vice President. Thank you, Chief Minister. And for Tennessee, we were very obedient pilgrims. And we hope we will be changed individuals there, where we can. And we hope we will contribute meaningfully to the growth and development of Sierra Leone.
Delivering the sermon, Imam Badamasi Savage urged the returning pilgrims to uphold the values and lessons of Hajj. He emphasized the importance of unity, peaceful coexistence, and good character as central pillars of the pilgrimage experience.
Oh, pilgrims, with all the safe return, let we remember, say we get great lessons them for learn from the Hajj where we go perform. We go learn first for say the life you for be sincere and honest. Just like how you try for doing sincerely for the sake of Allah. You for be honest for whatever responsibility you get and try for be sincere.
Imam Savage called on all Sierra Leoneans, especially those in leadership positions, to promote peace, unity and mutual respect. He said love, cooperation and respect for the rule of law are essential for national progress. The Imam added that peaceful coexistence remains one of Sierra Leone's greatest blessings and noted that the Quran strongly advocates those values. In his closing remarks, President Bio thanked religious leaders for their continued guidance and prayers. He prayed for God's forgiveness, strength and blessings upon Sierra Leone, its people and leadership. Reporting for SLBC News, I am Margaret Senge.
The High Court of Sierra Leone has begun hearing an appeal filed by the defense team of popular musician and influencer Zainab Shaif challenging a conviction and sentence handed earlier this year by Magistrate Mustafa Barmaja of Magistrate Court No. 1. Mohammed Kouma tells us more.
Following Zainab Shaif's sentence of 4 years and 2 months imprisonment, our defense team has filed an appeal against a conviction. At the hearing before Justice Magigba, State Counsel Ibrahim Tholi raised a preliminary objection, arguing that the defense had failed to comply with the appeal rules. Tholi submitted that the defense did not adequately set out or explain the judgment on the challenge, stressing that appeals must strictly adhere to procedural requirements. He urged the court to invoke Rule 8 of the appeal rules and dismiss the application. Lead Defense Counsel R.S. Wright countered that the objection was premature. He argued that Rule 8 provides guidance but does not impose absolute compliance with every statutory provision. Wright further contended that the prosecution's objection lacked legislative foundation, insisting that admissibility of appeals is a matter for judicial determination, not prosecutorial discretion. After hearing both sides, Justice Gegba adjourned the matter to June 18, 2026, when he is expected to rule on whether the appeal will proceed or be dismissed. After the preliminary stage, Zainab Sharif was found guilty of incitement and using threatening language under Section 3.2 of the Public Order Act 1965. Sharif's conviction stemmed from remarks made at a political rally in January, where prosecutors presented video evidence alleging she called election rigging treason and said those responsible and their families should be killed. The court found the statement amounted to incitement and threatening language. Her case has drawn significant public attention, with observers noting its implications for freedom of expression, political speech, and the application of Sierra Leone's public order laws. For SLBC, Mohamed Kouma reporting.
The Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone, in partnership with the Political Party Regulation Commission and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, has begun a 2-day stakeholder engagement aimed at introducing electoral and political education into university curricula across the country. Stella Bangwa witnessed the commencement of the engagement and now reports.
The initiative is part of the implementation of Recommendation 13 of the Cross-Party Committee report on electoral systems and management bodies review, which calls for the inclusion of governance and electoral studies in universities. Opening the ceremony, Commissioner Zainab Mosir underscored the importance for electoral bodies and academia to work together so as to move from projects to policy, thereby changing the trajectory of uninformed citizens. Addressing participants, Chief Electoral Commissioner, ECSL, Edmond Sylvester Alpha said the engagement marks a significant step towards strengthening democracy through education. He noted that while millions of Sierra Leoneans participate in elections every 5 years, very few receive formal training in electoral administration and governance. Commissioner Alpha explained that elections are often managed by temporary staff, including students, teachers, and civil servants who are trained within a short period before polling day. He said integrating electoral education into higher institutions will help build a pool of qualified professionals with a deeper understanding of election management, electoral laws, and democratic principles.
For too long, the knowledge of how elections are managed, the legal frameworks, the logistical architecture, the ethical imperatives has remained concentrated in a handful of practitioners. This engagement seeks to change that. An educated electorate is the best defense against misinformation, electoral manipulation, and apathy. Universities must be the crucible where the defense is enforced.
Speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, Deputy Minister Aziz Sajo Kamara described the engagement as a practical response to a key national reform recommendation, stating the proposed curriculum will provide students with knowledge on democratic governance, civic responsibility, and political participation, while promoting a common understanding of electoral processes across institutions.
Electoral education should not be the sole responsibility of election management bodies. Likewise, universities cannot operate in isolation when developing programs that seek to strengthen democratic participation and governance. A standardized curriculum will therefore enhance and broaden understanding of democratic governance and electoral processes.
Representatives from the Political Parties Regulation Commission and Tertiary Education Commission explained that the engagement was timely and strategic, noting the gathering is not only to design a new academic program, but contributing to the country's democracy. Participants, including university administrators and curriculum experts, praised the initiative and pledged their support towards its successful implementation. The engagement is expected to lay the groundwork for a stronger partnership between electoral institutions and universities in preparing future generations to play an active role in safeguarding Sierra Leone's democracy. Reporting for SLBC, Stella Bangura.
As we're still in the month of World Environment Day, environmental sustainability remains a major priority for Sierra Leone as the country faces the effects of climate change. In response, the Media Initiative for Climate Change and the Environment has launched the Greener Future campaign aimed at promoting tree planting and environmental awareness among young people. A symbolic tree planting exercise was held at the Freetown Secondary School for Girls as part of the Greener Future campaign. Emmanuel Williams has the details.
The fight against climate change in Sierra Leone has taken a new step as stakeholders, pupils and international partners gathered at the Freetown Secondary School for Girls for the official launch of the Greener Future campaign. The campaign seeks to empower young people to actively participate in protecting the environment through tree planting and climate education. A representative from the Chinese Embassy in Sierra Leone highlighted the importance of global partnership in tackling climate change, noting that environmental protection is a shared responsibility.
Planting trees means more than just a symbolic act. It is a real way to fight climate change, repair our ecosystem, and secure a bright future for young generation. Trees take in carbon and bring us fresh air.
Climate advocates say Sierra Leone is vulnerable to environmental degradation, calling for increased community participation.
We are in your school to plant 25 trees, and we are doing that together with the Chinese Embassy in Sierra Leone.
Pupils were encouraged to take the message beyond the school by planting trees in their communities and becoming environmental ambassadors. For LCBC News, Emmanuel Williams reporting.
BBC Media Action has launched a 2-year youth-focused initiative aimed at strengthening civic participation and amplifying the voices of young people across Sierra Leone. The project, titled This Now We Voice, was funded by the European Union and brought together key stakeholders, mainstream media representatives from the European Union delegation in Sierra Leone, staff of the BBC Media Action, students from Fabi College, Jara University and the Central University at Mile 91, among others. Christina Kamara has more on that story.
The launching of the BBC Media Action project, titled This Now We Voice, at a stakeholder meeting held at CCSL Hall on Kinghamon Road in Freetown, marked the beginning of a coordinated effort to enhance youth engagement in civic and democratic processes. The initiative is expected to run for 2 years and focuses on empowering young people aged 15 to 30 who represent a large segment of Sierra Leone's population but remain underrepresented in governance and decision-making structures.
This Now We Voice project, we were told, is a 24-month-year-old project designed to help young people, especially those between age 15 and 30, to find their voices and use it meaningfully through media and digital platforms. It creates opportunity for us to speak, share our views, and take part in shaping discussions that affect our lives and communities.
The project will be implemented through selected university media hubs, including Fabi College, Central University at Mile 91, and Ojala University. It also involves partnerships with major media institutions such as SLBC, AYV, and IRN. According to project officials, participants will benefit from practical training in journalism, storytelling, digital content production, and civic communication.
We want a radio station where the young people are free, to discuss any topical issue of the day. So that's the reason why we have these 3 universities. So each university, we're going to establish, or we're going to create a hub that will host 80 university students. And these students are from the mass communication, or for schools that don't have the mass communication, they have another communication kind of program from that faculty or department.
A national digital platform will further support young content creators, providing space for dialogue, collaboration, and civic engagement on issues affecting their communities. Stakeholders underscore the importance of collaboration in ensuring the success of the initiative, while emphasizing the role of media in promoting democracy and inclusive participation.
As Sierra Leone's public broadcaster, we are proud to be a part of this journey. We look forward to welcoming some of the participants, some of the creators into our newsrooms and production spaces, because the public broadcast is actually missing content. We have human resources, but we need capacity. And these small measures will actually add value, not only to the young people, but also add value to the institutions that we're working for.
What we call an action. This project will definitely support young people in this country to claim and negotiate their rights and set agendas around the issues that affect them by having greater voice through media and communication, but also thereby becoming agents of positive change in their communities.
The European Union reaffirmed its continued support for programs that empower young people and strengthen democratic engagement across Sierra Leone. BBC Media Action says the project is expected to reach at least 200,000 young people nationwide and contribute to building a more informed, active, and participatory youth population. SLBC News in Freetown, Christian Akamara reporting.
The Institute of Public Administration and Management, IPAM, has launched a smart college mobile and web application. It is designed to improve academic and administrative services for students, lecturers, and university administrators. Esther Susanette Bassi reports.
This app is formally launched. Thank you.
The new application is part of IPAM's digital transformation agenda. It provides students with access to course registration, class timetables, attendance records, academic results, notifications, and online fee payments through Visa cards and mobile money platforms. Launching the application at IPAM's campus at AJ Momo Street, Tar Hill in Freetown. The Deputy Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Sergio Aziz Kamara, described the initiative as a major step forward in the digitalization of higher education in Sierra Leone. He said the platform reflects creativity, innovation, and local talent, while supporting the ministry's vision of improving quality, accessibility, efficiency, and global competitiveness in higher education through technology. He also stressed the importance of ensuring sustainability, cybersecurity, inclusivity, and integration with other national and institutional digital systems.
What is most impressive about the app that we're going to launch is that it's homegrown, it's localized, it's a local solution. It shows the talents that we have in-house.
Deputy Vice Chancellor of IPAM, Ezekiel Duremani Lako, explained that the application forms part of a broader strategy to digitize university operations and reduce inefficiencies in academic management. He disclosed that the platform would eventually be integrated with the University of Sierra Leone's portal, finance systems, attendance management, and examination processes.
And in this system, we have all the designs awaiting the university portal. In the future, your grades of paid-up students will be seen in this portal.
According to university officials, IPAM has already introduced a digital examination system that has been used by more than 1,500 students. Plans are also on the way to introduce digital attendance, monitoring, and automated GPA calculations. The Smart College app will serve as a one-stop platform where students would access transcripts, academic information, attendance records, fee payment services, and other important university services directly from their smartphones. Authorities and students were optimistic that the Smart College app would enhance institutional efficiency, strengthen data management, improve service delivery, and enrich the overall student experience and learning. For SLBC News, Esther Suzanette Bassi reporting.
Sometimes for us to move to other segments of the news, and we start with entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News with Mr. Man Babetu Ray. In this edition of Entertainment News, Blossom Aissatou Koroma calls for support as she goes for the Miss Grand Sierra Leone 2026. And the CEO of Marakai Analytics speaks on the fans' favorite survey that was done on who is the most popular artist in Sierra Leone. Now, on the 26th of this month, this year, the Bintu Mani Auditorium will experience greatness, stardom, catwalk, beauty, fashion, you name them. Because our superstars, our pageantry queens will grace the stage with passion and hunger to represent Sierra Leone on the Miss Grand International Pageantry. Among them is Blossom Aissatou Koroma, representing Tonkolili District, being new and coming from Cyprus, where she studies. To display her resilience, creativity, and dream, Blossom has called on Sierra Leoneans to support her as she passionately goes for the crown. In an interview with SLBC Entertainment Desk, she spoke about her journey, dream, and also preparedness for the crown.
I'm ready to showcase my culture, my identity, my personality, and my talent as an individual. It gives me the platform to actually push through with my dream as a young girl growing up and an aspiring leader of Sierra Leone. I want fans to support me, bring my vision to life, my dream. No, it's not just about me, it's also giving out to my community, serving the people, and becoming like an aspiring role model.
Well, we say congratulations in advance to all the contestants, especially Blossom Aissatou Koroma. Now, to the Who is the King of Freetown survey. Few days back, a survey data was published and the findings blew up debates regarding positions of the artists considered to be the most popular and fans' favorite, especially on the top 10. On the list was Ellie J as the most loved and popular, seconded by Drizzlick, third Famous, fourth Caldonero. The list went on to Emerson, Legacy Boy, K-Man, Star Z, Steady Bongo, and Pretty S on the top 10. This, the CEO, Joel Abdullahi Kalon, said is a survey based on the choice and decisions of fans interviewed and asked to name their favorite artists. Well, he said that during an interview with the Entertainment Desk. Let's hear from him.
So it's based on the percentage of people who mention that artist. Dinero is a hip-hop artist, a very excellent lyricist, right? He sings some really great songs. But then his audience, his fans are mostly men. So when we broke down the numbers, we figured that Cardineiro's fan base is made up of 83% men. It's understandable because men relate more with hip-hop. So you take an artist like LAJ, who tends to be singing hip-hop one day, but then he has his dancehall tunes. He's able to appeal to a much broader fan base. That does not say anything about the quality of their songs or the quality of their lyrics, even across generations. LAJ still has a very impressive fan base with Gen Zs. Who would have thought that? He's been in the game for a very long time, but even the younger generation still gravitates towards him.
Good one, nice one, incredible, it's good. Well, that's the choice of the fans. And if you ask them, they will tell you their own opinion and their favorite. Now, before we go, my song is out. Hello, mommy. Adena di bar. I just want to get some cool and nice. Let's Farika is on TikTok. Go and jump on the song. But before going to TikTok, let's feel the chorus. The chorus is on TikTok. Let's feel it. Hello, mommy. Dena di bar. I just want to get some cool and nice. Like Farika. Well, that's all we have for this edition of Entertainment News. I've been your presenter, Sulaiman Babatue. Thanks for watching and keep watching the SLBC. Bye-bye.
Many thanks to Sulaiman Babatue for the latest in Entertainment News. Now, Abdul Kabir is now in the studio for sport updates. Good evening, Abdul.
Good evening and thank you so much for joining me. And in fact, the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup is truly on with an electrifying performances. And from the word go, we saw an exciting opening from Mexico against South Africa. You know, that was a brilliant start to the competition itself. And for Bafana Bafana, a disappointing start to the campaign. And also we saw the South Korea-Czech Republic match as well, and an interesting match, you know. And the game has developed a lot in recent years, and we've seen the improvement of players. And for the African teams, they are doing well. Now, the sad story that has to do with the Ghanaian international Thomas Partey has sparked serious debate online, you know, being denied visa to enter Canada and for their match against Panama. That's a serious situation. But the bookmakers are saying that FIFA, as the organizers of the event, they should find ways to handle immigration issues. But according to them, they are not in charge of that. They are in charge of the competition. And the former president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, is saying if you're organizing competition and as host, you should take whatever condition, you should accept it. And for them, I think it's a debatable issue, and I'm sure we'll find a solution around it. Now, Jose Mourinho has returned to Real Madrid again after 13 years. You know, it was with Real Madrid, Chelsea, I would say the former Chelsea, Manchester United boss, the former Benfica boss. And the aim of going to Real Madrid is to have a reunion among the players, particularly Vinicius Junior and that of Mbappe. You know, the intense rivalry among these two players has been the topic of discussion in recent times. So, you know, and the expectations are high.
Yeah, many believe because Jose Mourinho is a man, I'll say everybody knows his stand on making decisions. So him being a coach of Real Madrid, many are expecting changes to occur.
Certainly, because he's a special one. That was how it was called in England. You know, when he revived Chelsea, they were nowhere. When Mourinho came, he took them from nowhere, from rags to riches, if you like. So Mourinho has done a lot in terms of coaching. He has got a wonderful coaching style, and he has mentored a lot of players, including the African players who did well during his days in the English Premier League. So all the best for Real Madrid, the Los Blancos, you know.
And now they are trying their best to steal all the best players in our team.
Well, Real Madrid by far is a team to reckon with, and undoubtedly they've produced some of the biggest stars in world football. You know, they've graced the game illustriously. The Zidane, the Beckham. The names are too many to name a few. Real Madrid by far is a team to reckon with, and they will continue to make history insofar as football is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdul. Well, we wish all. Well, from Sports Update, that's how we draw the curtains of the news this evening. But before we go, a quick recap of our main points. President Julius Maada Bio has welcomed Sierra Leonean Arch pilgrims back home and joined them for the first Friday prayers since returning from the Holy Land. Police are now investigating a matter in the central part of Freetown where a woman in her late 50s named Anna Snamin Williams was found dead in a room located at Setra Crew Street, Kutan Road. A body was discovered only after neighbors noticed a bad odor emanating from her apartment. And following the arrest of 68 individuals at Belu checkpoints in Kainam district over a week ago, the Executive Director of Anti-Trafficking and Persons Task Force Security said government has joined border operatives on how to identify warning signs associated with suspected trafficking cases. Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of the news from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I have been your anchor, Esther Sako. Stay glued to the SLBC if you can. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.